Hello everyone! It is Sunday night and we are coming to you live from inside of Bat City Comic Professionals in Bradenton, Florida to help you wind down your weekend. As always, I'm your host, Shannon Live, aka Small Press Shann, here to get you excited about a bunch of books that you're definitely going to want to add to your pull list at your local comic shop. And we are going to talk about all of the hot indie and small press new releases that came out this week. But before we do that, if we're going to wind down our weekend, we've got to have wine. And so this week we are drinking Finca Raton, which has an insane amount of points for the world wine competition of greatness. I think it's 91 points? 94 points. Wow, that doesn't transfer through this side of the bottle at all. 94 points, and it is it's a Tempranillo, which of course is my favorite. And it's supposed to be, okay, let's see, what does it say? 1948 is how long they've been making wine. So this is not a 1948 bottle in any way, shape, or form. I think it says it's 2017 though. Yeah, 2017. That's still a decent time back. It kind of talks about the fact that they grow it in this special soil that's in clay, and all this stuff. And so we're gonna see it. I actually chose it this week because the person that signed the bottle, the family that made it, is the Segura family, and we have a new Dick Tracy out this week from Alex Segura, so I thought it was a fun my little connecting points for my wines. But we're gonna give it a try and see how it tastes. I'm sure it's gonna be fantastic because it's a Tempranillo. So oh my god, I didn't expect that much flavor on the front side of the wine.
Whoa.
Holy cow. I don't even know what that flavor is.
Sharp tannins.
I mean, yes, there's definitely sharp tannins, but that first kick in your face taste. What is it? You don't know. You don't know either. Yeah, it's a completely different flavor than what I'm expecting for a Tempranillo. You're gonna look it up?
I think so.
Good, because I'm what is that? I mean, it's in no way, shape, or form bad, everybody. But my job is to tell you what the wine tastes like, and I don't actually know.
It's almost lemon.
It is. It's something that's why I'm looking at it. And I keep looking at it. I'm it's something that comes from the clay. The way that it's manufactured or grown through the clay, is it? But it's so interesting. It doesn't say anything about it's fruits or it just says they use the best fruit.
And people say grapefruit. Could be grapefruit.
It could be grapefruit. That could be what is kicking at the front. I hope that goes away and doesn't get stronger because I do not like the taste of grapefruit. So please don't become more grapefruit. The smell smells like some kind of non-grapey fruit. Not.
Pomegranate?
I could maybe see that. So it seems like people are catching that citrusy feel to it, which is definitely what you get when you get that first little kick. We're going to see. I don't know. We'll see where this goes. It's an interesting choice. And it's interesting that it does have so many points from wine enthusiasts because it is such a different taste. I'm surprised people aren't what is this? But now I'm intrigued. And I really want to know how it opens up as it does. So we'll taste it again a little bit into the show. And again, by the way, speaking of, shout out once again to Hello Comics for these awesome wine glasses for Wind Down Your Weekend. If you guys, again, we said this last week, I'll say it again. If you're looking to buy online, Bat City doesn't sell comics online, but Hello Comics does. So you can check them out online and shop and support them. They're our friends up in Charlottesville, Virginia, and they are amazing. And so you should check them out. This week at Bad City, we had some fun. We had a lot of fun this week at Bad City, actually. We had zine night on Wednesday, which was super awesome. Thanks to everybody that came out. Thanks to our zine librarian, Comic Kelly, for coming out and helping out with helping people who didn't know how to make a zine, and also for putting it together. If you were a part of zine night, just know Kelly has already adapted all of our works into the like the one zine, the collaborative zine, and everybody can come and pick those up for free. Pretty soon, Kelly will be printing those out, and they'll be available at Bat City for free, and you'll get to see what we created during zine night. And I will warn you in advance, it will make no sense. We could not decide on a theme for our collaborative zine, so Kelly gave us the freedom to do all of them, and it's nonsensical at best. So you have to come check it out. We will be having another zine night soon. That is something that we are having a lot of requests to keep doing, and so we will definitely be doing more of those going forward. We also had tarot night on Friday, which Matt taught. There was a lovely group of people who came out for that as well to learn a little bit more about how to read those tarot cards or get that first understanding of how it works. So it was really, really cool to see everybody come out for that, and I'll hear about all of the things that they learned. Those classes will also be regularly rotating into our lineup, so keep an eye out. And then Saturday we had our last slam class of the summer, which is the marketing class. We had a giant group for it this year, and once again it was a 3-hour class, a free marketing class for creators. That's 3 hours long. It went through everything that you could possibly imagine, and basically the consensus is we need to offer that class broken up a lot more often. So keep an eye out for the possibility of a series of classes for adult creators on how to market and build your brand. And then, of course, we had Sunday Craft Afternoon today, and thanks to everybody who came out and just used our space to make stuff. With all the rainy weather, it is a huge thing. Speaking of, I know that back to school starts tomorrow, and speaking of the rainy weather, we've been, of course, if you've come by this week, we've been working on getting our driveway touched up. There are a lot of bicycles that were donated to Bat City for us to give away. So as back to school starts, if you are somebody who knows a family in need or are a family in need that may be in the Bradenton area and you need a bike, please let us know. Hit us up. We've got some for all different sizes of kiddos to teen adult ages, and so we were amazingly donated those, and we'll be making a post about some more information about them. But if you are watching this right now while we have them and it's on my brain, keep that in mind. And speaking of donations, we have been running a charity raffle for the last few weeks for in honor of my brother who recently passed away, and lung cancer victims and survivors. And so we've been raising money for Longevity, which is a foundation that helps cancer patients actually get the care that they need and fund some of that because it's very, very expensive when you have cancer. It also funds a lot of cancer research, which is specifically for lung cancer, which is a thing that is very important, especially these days, to have somebody who, organizations that are helping fund that research. They have made a lot of strides through the Longevity Foundation research path in lung cancer, but there is still so much. I mean, even with my brother, he got to the point where they were like, you're in the 12% of people who have survived, and we don't really know how or why. And then it kept going, and it was like, you're in the 1%, the 3%, kind of areas, and they were like, we don't really know what your cells are doing at this point. And so the fact that that's still something that's so hard for people to understand, we want to continue to fund that research. So we raised about $327 from Longevity through our ticket sales for our raffle, and we need to pick a winner. So we're going to put it this way. I'm going to take this off because you can't enter to win anymore. So we're just going to remove that. So there are 2 prizes this time because there were 2 great superhero movies that came out this summer. One being Superman. We created a Superman prize package, and then we also, for the Fantastic Four, created the 616-day Marvel package, which does include an exclusive Fantastic Four variant. So with the Superman prize package, you're going to win a couple different Superman books, including one of the Superman compact stories. Superman, I can't reach it. Yeah, here, hand me the stuff. There we go. I'm short-armed, guys. I can't reach all the way over there. Okay, should have put it down here to begin with. Okay. So you are going to win a couple of different things with the Superman prize package. You're going to win the 30th anniversary of the death of Superman, which seems silly and ridiculous, but just so, since we are doing this in honor of my brother, the first comic my brother ever gave me was, for just me, was the death of Superman, and so the 30th anniversary is kind of just a throwback to him. We're also going to give you the foil version of the Action 1 facsimile. It's a little bit closer to a Golden Age size, but it's actually kind of a weird in-between size, so it's in this magazine bag and board. You are also going to win, oh, that's what it is, Superman Smashes the Klan. This is a fantastic graphic novel all about some kids in the 1940s. It's based on the radio show, and it's a really amazing story. If you've never read it, it is like a multi-award winner of all kinds, and you are going to get that in your collection. And you are also going to get a CGC 9.8 Action Comics Future in lenticular cover Superman variant. It's just really cool. Yeah, I'm like,
there you go.
There we go. Whoop whoop, side to side, side to side.
That's it.
All right. So this is prize number 1. So we're gonna put these things all together, and somebody is gonna win this prize, and we're gonna pull and see who wins this prize. And you know we're doing it live on the air, so you know we're not cheating. All right, Matt. Here we go. That is ridiculous. This winner is actually my mom. Which is amazing because she just wanted to donate in honor of my brother, and my brother's favorite character was Superman. So it's kind of amazing that my mom won. And so, Mom, congratulations. You saw it live on the internet, so you know I didn't cheat for my mom to win, but she will be really excited about that. And then the second prize, like I said, is the Marvel 616 variants and pin set. So that does include a Spider-Man cover, the Avengers cover, the X-Men cover, the Greg Land Fantastic Four cover. I'm going to slide that back. And then the 616 pin set. Now, these were only released 2 stores. You couldn't order them at all. So there's only like 1 per store per set of these that they came as like a surprise. We didn't know what's happening. So whoever wins this, congratulations. All right, let's shake that up again. Don't worry, Mom. My mom cannot win again. I will not give the same price, or the price to the same person.
Yeah, draw another ticket if you draw this.
Let's see. Oh, it's Kim Watkins. So congratulations, Kim. We'll have this for you. And you're such a big Marvel fan that I'm excited for you. That I'm glad that you won the Marvel prize and not the DC prize. All right, so there you go. Thank you, everybody who donated. We'll be sending Longevity. We'll be making that donation to Longevity in honor of all of you and my brother. So thank you so much for everybody who participated in that. This week, coming up at Bat City on Thursday, we will have Fresh Start Book Club. So we will be reading Gideon Falls #1. You can get a $1 copy of the issue here at the shop, and that book club starts at 7 p.m. And then this Saturday, I believe, is Comic Creation Workshops. So first time back after the summer of 2 times for the classes. So there'll be one at 11:30 and one at 3:30. And those are for the kiddos, and they are free. So bring everybody out as like a treat for making it through the first week of school. And all right, so we're going to talk about some comics, and we're going to kick it off with Something is Killing the Children, issue 43 from Boom Studios. This actually was in our marketing class this week because I talked about making sure you can pitch your book as a miniseries first. And if you didn't know, Something is Killing the Children was only supposed to be a miniseries. And here we are, 43 issues and 2 different titles later. And the story is still going on. Right now, we are in a world where we're kind of jumping back in time. So this is Something is Killing Children overall is the story of a girl named Erica Slaughter, who is an adult woman who works for a secret society that kills monsters that kill children. And she's kind of gotten to the point in the story where she's in some trouble, and that's led her to led us to have to go back in time and see some of Erica's upbringing. And so we are currently actually looking through the path of Erica as a child, and she is learning how to be a hunter from her mentor. And they are in a place where something very, very dangerous happened in the past with a lot of children dying. And now it's happening again, which is kind of a rarity for them. Usually once they kill monsters in a zone, they don't come back. And for some reason, her mentor, Jessica, just wants to get drunk and avoid the monster hunting. And it's really messing with Erica's mind, and we're going to see how. If you've been reading the Hello Darkness story, it seems as if Erica herself might be in a very similar spot to that. And that's why that Hello Darkness anthology story is kind of connecting to this. But we're going to see where this goes for us soon enough. Thundercats, issue 17 from Dynamite. If you are a fan of the Thundercats cartoon, this is definitely a book that you are going to want to grab onto, because it feels a lot like you're reading outtakes of the show. But basically the Thundercats have been their planet has been destroyed. They have moved to this third Earth. And in this story, Lion-O has gone missing and Chitara has taken over as the person in charge. And in the last issue, they randomly found another Thundercat on the planet, and it just happened to be an old flame, an ex of Chitara's, who is in this beautiful, happy relationship now. So of course drama ensues. But before they can deal with that drama, they actually have the problem of the fact that their biggest enemies, the mutants, are actually setting up a trap for them, and they fall perfectly into it. And if it wasn't for a mysterious stranger showing up, we don't know what would necessarily happen. But who is that stranger is kind of the whole purpose of this book, and something we've been building towards in the Thundercats world. So we're 17 issues in, but you definitely want to jump in if you haven't been collecting it as Thundercats fans. World Tree, issue 16 from Image Comics. If you haven't read World Tree before, it is the story of basically the fact that the internet is bad. And it's kind of geared around the fact that in a long time, in like the 90s, these kids discovered that the internet has what's called the undernet to it. And on that is this dark, dangerous side that kind of leads us to become like psychopathic killers and crazy people. And one of the teenagers of that time actually falls victim to it and becomes this entity that basically spreads that evilness for the next 30 years. And now the world has been destroyed. People are living underground. It is, if you see the internet, you die. And that one group of people was kind of the only ones who could stop it, and they failed. And now this last remaining bit of society is the one place that might be able to hold on to it. And as we learn in this issue, danger abounds at all ends, and there may not be survival for anybody because we really just can't ever get away from the internet. So if you are looking for a really cool like sci-fi horror kind of story, World Tree is definitely one to jump into. Hello Darkness, issue 13. This is from Boom Studios, and this is a big zombie issue kind of for them, which they've kind of been teasing towards us recently. And so the first story, I was wrong, the first story, and this is from See Where I was talking to Matt about stories earlier, is all about, the first story in here is all about a kid that is playing a video game that basically has a biometric VR element to it, and they send out a message that you need to take off your headsets and get away from the biome as fast as possible. And unfortunately for this kid, I don't want to show you, but unfortunately for this kid, I'll show you this part of it, doesn't necessarily act fast enough. And remember, video games and screens aren't always the safest choice for us to make. There's a couple other stories in here, and I want to just show you a little bit of each of them. This one goes a little bit long. Goodness gracious. There is another one in here that's all about, which I absolutely love. The Hollywood has decided that they are going to use zombies after a zombie apocalypse to be actors, and basically they can deep fake faces of any celebrity they want on there, but they don't have to pay them anymore. And so they tell everybody that it's perfectly safe and that they're within all of their legal rights to do it, and that no zombie apocalypse will ever break out again. But that's not how that goes. I love it. It's definitely an allegory for the lawsuit that recently happened for Hollywood to not be able to use AI versions of actors and extras. And then there is a story about some people who are stranded on a boat out in the middle of the ocean, and their attempt to survive, and a little bit of that cannibalism that might turn zombieism if you let it go too long as you try to survive, which I really like the darkness of the art on that story. And then the very last one is just a story of a mother and daughter, and just the idea of how can you stop that zombie apocalypse, and who stands up for it, and what do you use as bait in those situations. So it's just a fun little zombie anthology. It's not always, but this one was specifically geared towards zombies. We've got Dick Tracy, issue 11 from Mad Cave. This is going to start arc 3 of Dick Tracy. So in arc 1, we kind of killed most of the bad guys in the Dick Tracy universe. In arc 2, we saw the story of the Blink, which is a big one for Dick Tracy. In this one, we are actually seeing Tracy take on a completely new set of bad guys. There is somebody in the town that is, who's talking... who he seems to be striking fear into everybody and robbing banks. And Matt, you'll have to tell me if these girls have been in the Dick Tracy comics before, but there's the Summer Sisters. Yes? Are these the ones that you told me about with the really crazy... Yes, this is them?
Well, yeah, it was the Scissor Sisters.
Oh, right. But I'm guessing we're changing that.
I'm guessing they're changing.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, I feel like we've seen them. But in this story, they are actually some very dangerous foes, and Dick Tracy seems to be not going down the right path towards stopping them. He's getting a little distracted by other cases and other things that are coming up because a man who he knew in his days in the military has suddenly appeared and says there's something dangerous coming that Tracy needs to pay attention to. Meanwhile, we get to see a little bit of the Tess-Tracy relationship grow, and our good buddy Pat gets himself in trouble, as he always does, and Tracy feels it's his fault and his responsibility to take care of it. Great. Honestly, at this point, like, you can kind of read each of the Dick Tracy arcs independently of each other, which is kind of cool because it does kind of feel like you're giving me, like, one, like, run of comic strips kind of, like, in an era, in an arc. So it's really cool. I'm really glad to see them continuing it going. Gotcha Man, issue 11 from Mad Cave. This kind of feels like we're getting to the point of Gotcha Man stories in the Mad Cave universe where they're feeling a little bit more like watching episodes of a cartoon. And so this one involves the Science Ninja team going out, trying to take a vacation. And they think that they're just having fun and fishing and finding like random octopuses and things of that nature. When the people in the National Weather Service actually find out that there is a tsunami coming their way, and the Science Ninja team has no idea, but that tsunami is being caused by a crazy mech kaiju kind of thing brought upon us by Galactor, and it's up to the Science Ninja team is going to have to figure it all out by themselves because they have no comms because of the storm. And so we see them have to learn that fighting isn't always the answer, and sometimes there's a better way for a team of people to kind of adapt and explore their options than just kicking and punching every time something comes their way. And if they can't figure it out in time, they will not be able to save the world, the city nearest to them that is being destroyed. And also this issue is written by Sam Humphries. I'm wondering, is he gonna be on Gotcha Man all the time now? We've got Noel Hunter, issue 10 from Image Comics. This is basically a cyberpunk retelling of the Seven Labors of Hercules. And so basically we have a man whose family is killed, and he kind of gets these cybernetic arms put on him that give him the strength of everybody in the world, like this 10 men essentially. And he has been doing these tasks that the leaders of Olympus have been kind of requiring of him. And as he's been doing these tasks, they're supposed to give him more answers and possibly his freedom back for all of the upgrades they gave him. Well, of course, anytime we deal with Olympians, we know that's not the case. And we know there's always something else to it. And so we find out in this issue, finally, who is responsible for the death of his family, and whether or not he is going to be able to earn that revenge as well as that freedom is something you'll see as you read the end of the story. The Herculoids, issue 6 from Dynamite. This is another one of our classic Hanna-Barbera cartoon stories coming to life again in comic book form. And this one's kind of a little one-shot of its own because this is all about Igloo, who is one of the characters in the Herculoids group who lives on this planet with them. And he is a giant like rock creature, and kind of similar to the Thing. And in this issue, he is actually goes off on his own because he molts every couple of like generations or so. And so he is molting for the first time in our young child main character's life, and so he's very worried about his friend. But we get to see him go off and try to battle living through this planet with no rocky exterior and nothing to protect him. And he kind of has to survive a lot of trials and tribulations in order to earn his thicker skin and kind of make it back to his family. And so we get to see that journey. It gets really crazy. There's some giant animals on there. It feels very much like a trip through Skull Island, except you are one of the monsters. You've just lost your power. And you know, we get to see that journey back to your family, to yourself, and to your friends through this issue. We've got Silverhawks issue 6, also from Dynamite, also bringing back classic cartoons. In this issue, or in this series so far, this one kind of does it a little differently. While everything else is kind of giving us the same telling or retelling of the classic story. In Silverhawks, we're actually seeing that the Silverhawks team that we know has grown old. It's been 30, 40 years since they were last considered the team, and they saved the world in their capacity, but now they're old and retired, and yet their same big villain has returned and broken out of prison and is threatening the galaxy again, but they're not capable of handling the fights anymore. And so they have to build a new team of Silverhawks, and they just had their big first battle trying to take out this huge villain, and it didn't really go necessarily the way they wanted it to. They had some little successes and some big losses, and so this is them dealing with that fallout of, you know, learning to be that team, learning who needs to be on the team and who maybe needs some more work, and learning to adapt and figure out where they're going to go, as they don't really have a lot of time to do that because the next attack from Monstar is happening immediately. And so that recovery is going to be short-lived before the next big battle takes place. Bitter Root, issue 5. This is from Image Comics, and this is the end of this arc for Bitter Root. I hope we're going to see another one immediately because major cliffhanger leave off on this one. If you don't know the world of Bitter Root, basically racism turns you into a giant monster, and there is a family of people in the 60s that has been fighting against that for generations, and they've basically in the previous volumes of Bitter Root, they had kind of figured out a way to mostly stop it, or at least they thought that they had figured out a way to stop the virus that spreads racism through people. And now we're into the 60s, I believe it's 64 in this, and they realize they have not stopped it. If anything, it is actually more prevalent and more terrible than ever before. And so they have to go out and try to stop this once again. But now the government, who's always been an ally to them, no longer believes that that's true, because they want to believe and they want to spread the story that they have already solved racism, and they don't want to accept it. And so in this issue, particularly after a big battle in a town in the South, they are having to convince the president and the people of the government that they do need to continue fighting, and they do need to accept that these monsters are getting bigger and racism is never going to die, and they're going to have to continue fighting it forever. And we're going to see what happens, hopefully, in the next installment, because like I said, it does leave on a big cliffhanger, which it always will, because we're never going to stop the monsters. Monkey Meat number 5 from Image Comics. I believe this is our wrap-up of this arc of Monkey Meat as well, and I love the way they do it. This was so great. So this is an anthology of stories about an evil corporation called Monkey Meat that runs an island where they do all kinds of terrible things to all kinds of people. And in this volume is called the Summer Batch, and so it's kind of all geared around summer vacations. And in the very first one, they are actually I believe it's actually like a PSA. That's what it was. It was like they called it something specific, and it's kind of just about like the island and everything that goes on, and like joining their ranks, and how if you join their ranks, you can stop the war and all of these different things. But really, what they want you to join the ranks for is to help them colonize the area that they've taken over, and continue to push people out of it so that they can continue to bring more of Monkey Meat to it. And then the second story in there is all about one of their champions of monkey meat who kind of goes to other places and invades them and takes over them for them, and they send that person off to a place where people think that they are far from the reaches of monkey meat and can live for forever in safety. And they of course have to deal with the fact that you are never out of reach of the evil corporation, and kind of see exactly what that battle looks like and how you just can't really figure it out. And then the last, and the whole thing is all done on newsprint with Junie Boss, super cool art. And then the last one is about this goddess who runs monkey meat, and just kind of like the celebrity power that CEOs get from corporations, and how these celebrities just constantly manipulate and run over the situation. What I love about it though is that the back of the story, Junie Ba is like, instead of just being to be continued or what's coming next, he starts to fade the story out, and it has coming soon in the pages behind it. And at the very end, it's like, hey, do you want to know what happened in those pages? That's really cool. You probably do. It sounds amazing. Look, here are my thumbnails. If you want to know what happens in those thumbnails and in all those pages you didn't get, hate to break it to you, but you have to buy into the corporate stigma of purchasing a trade paperback when it comes out. It'll have all the extra benefits and add-ons that you want that you didn't get to read in this story. And so I love that. Like, it's just like fully committed to the bit, and also using it as a great way to sell comics and trade paperbacks. But I definitely want to know what the continuation of the goddess story is, and I can't wait to see it. And congratulations, Junie Ba, on continuing to find a way to use the elements of comic storytelling and the medium in general as a way to explore your story in great ways. All right, we've got Black Ritual, the Book of Nyx, issue 5, and this is from Image Comics and our Spawn universe. And this is one that actually gives us Spawn. Most of the Spawn side stories, like Sam and Twitch and all of those, don't really actually have any like Spawn-ness to them. But this is fully a story about witches. And this is about a witch named Nyx who, after everything that happened in her previous time, she left the city of New York, and now when she returns, she finds out that she's been called there because witches are going missing and somebody has been killing them. She believes that it is because of this guy that she's found that's like a Puritan who is just trying to like kill all the witches. But in this issue, she figures out that there is more to it than that. But while she's figuring that out, she gets kidnapped by him, and he is torturing her in this, and we actually get to see a flashback to Spawn and then to Al Simmons training her on how to fight for real, because without her witchcraft, because witches always tend to rely on their magic, and he's like, you're not always going to be able to do that, so you need to learn how to fight. And so she needs to have that moment of clarity once again so that she can battle her way through this and figure out what is actually going on amongst all of the danger in New York. Most of these have ended at 5 issues. This is, I said this is issue 5. This is issue 4. So we probably only have one more issue to go to see what's going to happen, but considering that Nyx just found out that nothing that she's believed for the last 3 issues leading into this one was true, I don't know. Maybe we'll get more than 5 for this for sure. I am going to take a drink of our wine to see what happened with it now, because I'm so curious. I still don't know what that is. It's so strange, but it almost makes it light in texture, like, because it is kind of almost a citrusy thing. It's really weird. Like, I have no idea what this is. So strange.
It's like drinking wine with a lemon back.
Mm-hmm. It's so weird. But, like, again, I'm not, like, entirely opposed to it. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
I don't hate it at all. I'm just like, what are you?
We've had wines on here that we have not liked.
We have had wines we do not like. This is not one of those wines. I don't hate this wine. I have hated wines on here before. Like,
this isn't one of them.
This isn't one of them. I just want to know what it is. All right, we've got Arcana Royale issue 4 from Dark Horse, and this is the end of Arcana Royale. And this is the story of a girl who is kind of a card shark, I guess is the way to describe it. And she gets recruited to be a part of this game that you basically play with the stakes of of humanity. And so what you're betting when you're betting against people and things is you're not betting on like your money or stuff like that. You're basically like, hey, I'm everybody on this side of the world is going to die from a tsunami, like if I, like with my bet. And it's all geared around like this supernatural experience. And she is in the final round of that now. And so the stakes have gotten really, really high. In fact, in issue 3, there was a break, and it was basically like you can kill anybody in the room, and whoever makes it back to the table is still in the game. And she actually does make it back to the table, and that they find out is what she finds out and what she discovers through that time is that she's been playing the game the wrong way, and so is everybody else, because she realizes that when you're using humanity and natural disasters and the world at large as your measuring stick for your bets and your antes, that there's more to it than that. And she kind of figures out the twist on the game to make her big moves, and where it goes and how it wraps up and what it leads to. You definitely want to read to figure it out. If you've been reading it, you're going to be really excited about the ending, I think. So. Whatever Happened to Crimson Justice #3 from Mad Cave. This series keeps getting more and more exciting for what they're doing. We oftentimes see a lot of the, the old superhero has to come out of retirement kind of stories, but they're always to train somebody else. And the way this story is working is we are actually seeing this superhero coming out of retirement to just be, possibly to just be a superhero. But we're dealing with more of the thought process behind the idea of coming out of retirement than we are with it themselves. And so in this story, we've got a superhero named Crimson Justice who's retired and now owns a coffee shop, and he just wants to have a normal life. And recently his main villain that everybody believes to be dead has just recently appeared, and it is destroying the world one day at a time, and all these people are dying. And so he is like, I'm not going to get involved. But his guilt from not getting involved has started him having visions of his young Robin-style sidekick essentially. And so he is dealing with the idea of kind of having this guilty conscience just kind of control him as he's doing this. And he's seeing old other superheroes and the lives they've chosen, all the paths they're on, and he's realizing that the one thing he can do to save anybody is to actually get involved. And he's going to have to suit up if he wants to stop Dr. Mayhem, because he may be the only one that can. And really, the emotional journey that we've gone through in these 3 issues as he's tried to figure it out has been really well done. Frank Thierry is crushing it with that story. Robot Todd is back with part 3 from Floating World Comics. One of the things you got to know about Robot Todd is that it is just incredibly cool to look at. And so Robot Todd is a robot named Todd who is on an adventure, and he kind of has gone through a lot in the last couple of issues already and made some big friends. And in this issue, they are putting him back together again after a big fight has kind of left him a little destroyed. And he is having to still kind of figure out where he wants to go. And he's trying to get to a certain place. And he's trying to get there with his friends. And it's just, he goes through some really cool disasters, places like this one where ice kind of shoots down. And if you get stuck in it, the path of it, you get frozen. And so one of his friends actually has that happen to them, and so he has to save them. He figures out how to use a special phone so he can call another friend back, and they realize that maybe they can continue their adventure together. Again, you're just coming in here for the trippy art. It's so cool. It's awesome to look at. There's this heartfelt element to Robot Todd's journey, but you're also getting some really cool, beautiful stuff to look at along the way. Ghostbusters Dead Man's Chest issue 3 from Dark Horse. This is in the universe of the new Ghostbusters movies. So if you haven't seen those, it's okay. You can totally read these because I haven't seen them. But if you have seen them, you'll recognize the characters. And basically in this story, the Ghostbusters from the new universe have recently moved to New York and into the Ghostbuster building, and they are trying to just live normal lives, but also decided that they wanted to be the Ghostbusters, and so they're trying to figure out that work-life balance. And if you know the new Ghostbusters, you know that they're also children. They're high school teenagers and their parents. And so recently a problem occurred where a ghost pirate has invaded New York City and is bringing a lot of pirate friends with them, and they are having to figure out just exactly how they are going to get this pirate to feel comfortable with what's going on and back into some ectoplasm container kind of thing. But it's also leading to some really emotional discoveries for themselves and their friends while they're on it. It's just fun and heartfelt and really great. It's written by David Brewer, who did Canto, so you should read it. Illuminati issue 2 from AWA. This is the story of a girl who finds out that her sister has been murdered when she went out to California to break into the Hollywood scene, and now she has come out there and she's like, I really have to figure this out, and so I'm gonna have to get involved. And she is having an easy time of doing that because the people who killed her sister, the producers and the people she thinks are behind it, have actually come to her and are trying to invite her into their world. She does have one friend who is helping her out and is like, hey, get out of there. You don't want to be a part of this. Like, these are dangerous people. Don't get involved. And of course, she doesn't listen to any of this advice. And so in this issue, when they invite her onto the set of the movie that they're working on, she decides to go, only for them to say, oh, just kidding, we've got to go to a party right now, you should come with us. And when she gets to the party, she realizes she may be in a lot of danger, but she may be in the same exact situation her sister was in that led to her death. So she's not going to leave until she figures it out, and neither are we. So we're 2 issues in, and some things are already heating up really badly for our characters, and we're going to see where it goes. Don't Forget Your Briefcase, issue 2 from Mad K. This is such a fun, ridiculously amazing, like spy thriller romp kind of story. But this is all about a woman who we learn in issue 1 is a mother, but also a Russian spy, and she works in the White House and in the government, and she takes her son to the office one day, and he carries around a briefcase that reminds him of his father, and also helps him feel a little more normal. And during an incident at the White House, his briefcase gets switched with the one that contains the secret information for the nuclear codes, and now he has them. But again, his mom is a Russian spy, and she's worried that not even that, like, she has them. She's just worried that, like, her cover's going to be broken and that it's going to get her son in trouble. And so she's trying to figure out how to get them involved to solve the situation for her. And then the person who actually lost the briefcase is told that it's her responsibility to go out and figure out how to get it back. And so a lot of people show up at the door at the same time, giving our spy a lot to deal with at one time, and a hilarious version of a cliffhanger. There's some absurdities along the way that just make the story even more fun. If you are looking for something that is spy thriller but also comedy, you're gonna love this book for sure. Sisterhood issue 2 from Ghost Machine and the imprint of Image Comics, and also from the Hyde Street universe. This is such a fantastic book. We've had a little bit of one-shots come out of Hyde Street that are like, hey, here are some of the characters on Hyde Street, and what they, like, how they ended up there. But this is a whole mini-series that we're getting, and it is so good. This is about 2 best friends who did everything together for so long. And one day, while they're in college, one of the girls decides she's going to pledge a sorority, and in the process of the rush, she ends up getting hazed to the point where she does not make it out. And there is, the death and the tragedy and everything. And so her best friend is trying to figure out how to go on without her when she is actually able to suddenly see her friend in any kind of like reflective surface, and she's like, you have to go after these people, you have to pledge this sorority, you have to get in there, you have to get them to admit that they're the reason I died, because my parents aren't able to solve this case. Nothing is going to come of it, and they're going to hurt more people. Like, you have to help me do that. And so our lead character decides that she will pledge and she will figure it out. And the sorority decides to kind of fast track her in through the pledging process, because they want the goodwill of having the best friend in there. But things don't go the way anybody plans for that to happen. And there's a little bit of a mystery that we don't know what it is. And it is is definitely going to leave you on the edge of your seat the whole time. You do not want to miss this. This is such a good book. Grab it immediately. Return to Skull Island, issue 2 from Dynamite. It is Dynamite, right? No, Titan. I forgot that King Kong moved to Titan. Return to Skull Island is a really cool way to do it. We have been kind of seeing all of our Monsterverse books being very much, geared towards adults. And this one's kind of getting a hit cross point for a lot of the fans who are enjoying the movie, because we do have some kid characters in it. And so this is about a family that ends up on Skull Island, and one of them is rescued, and we see the daughter who's rescued in this issue, but the son who was left behind and the man who was left behind with him have kind of infiltrated this group that lives on the island, and the people on the island have made it a point to kind of be Kong's protectors and vice versa. And Kong is very sick from an attack that he had from some big monsters, and now he's in danger of actually dying, and they're kind of trying to figure out what they're going to do about that. Meanwhile, the sister who made it home is trying to figure out a way back to the island to save her brother and her father and everybody that's left there. And so she has come up with a really absurd, only works in a movie or a comic book kind of plan, and we're going to see if that actually does work even then as the story continues. Tramps of the Apocalypse, issue 2 from Dark Horse. This is all about, we are in an apocalyptic wasteland, and women are still trying to deal with the problem that is men. And so these 3 women have been trying to figure out a way to kind of get away from all the men of the world and have this, they'll destroy them if they see them, and otherwise they kind of just want to have normal lives and kind of live off on their own, but also they're trying to figure out a way to survive in this apocalyptic wasteland. And they end up coming across this group of men, and in the process of it, they figure out that there is this secret artifact that will actually probably save them from everything that's terrible in this world, and if they want to survive this wasteland, they've got to go out and find it. So they end up taking one of the men hostage so that they can use him, because he says he knows where this is. But what they learn in the process is that there is a secret organization that has created a chemical spray that smells like pee or Axe body cologne, and makes the men have these super powers, and only certain men can do it, and it's kind of hilarious, and you just have to read it to see what it is. But these women have to figure out how to battle those men in order to get past the dangers that they're facing, so that they can get this item that they need. And we are going to see a little bit more of that unfold each issue of the story for sure. All right, we got some new number 1s. We've got Warrior Spirit number 1 from Critical Entertainment. This is actually a one-shot, and it is all about a caveman who is assigned the job of being the warrior for his tribe, and he isn't very good at it. He has this insane worry, almost what it would be like if cavemen had anxiety. And so he's trying to figure out how he can get through that in order to actually save his people. And he keeps having these visions of demonic spirits and monsters and things that will come for them. And he's ends up meeting a woman and is I want to, they have this moment and they decide to make a family. And so he realizes he needs to be strong in order to lead the group. And he starts down that path, and we see where that leads him as the story unfolds. Again, it's a one shot, so if I show you any of the rest of it, it's going to just kind of spoil it. So, but Critical Entertainment and Chris Retta always have some great stories, so you want to check that out. Fortress, issue 1 from Strangers Comics. So this actually came out originally in 2019. And they finally decided that they were going to continue the story. They were asked basically to continue the story by Strangers Comics. And so they figured in order to actually make issues 4, 5, and 6, they should probably put out issues 1, 2, and 3 again, because it's been 6 years and nobody would know. And so that's exactly what's happening. And so this is the story of Itra, who is trying to figure out how to find Caleb, who is a young boy who is essentially this massive weapon that everybody is trying to get their hands on this, in this, like, again, like apocalyptic kind of situation. This and so she has found Caleb. She finds Caleb on like the very first page, and what she learns is that they've taken a lot of the weapons that he had, thinking that that was what they needed in order to have the weaponry. But what she knows that they don't is that the weapon itself is actually Caleb, and so she needs to find these pieces and get them back for him, but also kind of lead them into wherever it is that they're going to go to kind of destroy these evil bad guys and all the people who are after them. Again, this is the first of the issues. They will be printing out 2 and 3 again, and then we will get to see where the story goes and continue that adventure soon. Tama, issue 1 from Panic Comics. We've been very excited about this issue. We saw this earlier this year at the Comics Pro annual meeting, and so Matt and I have been waiting for this series to launch, and it's such an exciting thing. So this is basically, if you are a child who was alive in the 90s, either as a teenager or a child, you probably had a Tamagotchi. And this is basically, you know, we forget about the Tamagotchis, and they die, and they get hungry, and they get angry. And if you ever had one, you know that, like, it's like, feed me, feed me, feed me. And if you don't feed it, it gets mad and like angry, and its happiness meter drops down. Well, in this world, that led to some very bad things. So the company went out of business. Well, we fast forward to the now times, and a woman whose job it is to kind of like raid these old game companies and places like that, her company ends up going in and getting this Tama information. And this kid, who's always on his video games and playing stuff, is kind of mad that his mom ignores him all the time. So he decides he's going to go through one of the boxes, and in it he finds this game that the Tamagotchi animal came from, which is companimals. I don't know how to say it, but basically you can pick your own virtual pets and raise it, and he chooses Tama. And it seems like Tama may be more alive than not. Because as he starts to have, oh, there you can see Tama. As he starts to have these experiences, making Tama happy and feeding Tama, he develops an emotional attachment to Tama that seems to make it more and more alive as it goes on. But when Tama isn't happy, what's gonna happen? And you've got to read it to find out, but I am so stoked to see the rest of where this goes. And also, I know that it's dangerous and bad, and it's like, don't have this, and that's like the warning, and I still want to play with Tama and snuggle it because it's so cute. And where's my plushie of Tama? Just saying. All right, up next, we've got Cruel Universe. This is Volume 2, Issue 1 from Oni Press and EC Comics. I'm excited it's back. We had so many people when Cruel Universe ended that were like, no, I really love my sci-fi horror anthology, and we're really bummed that it was over. And so it's back. Don't worry. And it is back with a bang. My favorite story that has possibly been in Cruel Universe at all so far is the first story of this issue, which is about an alien race that is studying Earth for a really long time and wants to come in because they feel like they can help Earth, and they feel like Earth is a good place for them to be. And after they figure out how to infiltrate Earth by becoming one of us, they see that Earthlings don't treat each other the best, and for various reasons why, and you get to see what those are, and I'm not going to spoil that for you, but you definitely need to read it. And then the second story is called Catch and Kill, and it's all about 2 kids who are YouTubers, or no, not YouTubers, TikTokers, and they are trying to figure out how to explain that animals are actually saying something. And so they are starting with dolphins, and they're going to prove what dolphins are saying to each other. But when they get in the water and start doing the experiments, we don't actually know what animals are saying to each other, and it kind of just goes really, really poorly. And you get to see exactly how poorly that goes very quickly. And then we have a story of a billionaire who decides to create a utopia out in space, and he builds 2 different ships for that. And if you are sick at all in any capacity, he kind of just kills you and throws you out into space. And one day, the ship that he's on, everybody kind of loses it, and he needs a way to get away from them. And we find out what is going on the other ship as well. And some crazy stuff goes down in that story. And then And then now, one of the things that the EC Comics have been doing, which has been really cool, is they are reprinting classic EC stories in the back of the anthologies, which is awesome. And so we get a story back here that's about two astronauts out in space who discover a ship. And they decide that they're going to go in and check out the ship. And one of the guys is like, I don't know why my captain is so obsessed with that. And we learn the story of what happened and why everybody on the ship didn't make it out. And we get to see what the obsession really is for the captain in there. Great first issue back for Cruel Universe. And if you are enjoying sci-fi or sci-fi horror, you definitely need to get this issue. We've got Roy #1 from Fantagraphics. This is one of those like purely Fantagraphic weird stories that's an anthology of different stories that all kind of connect, but also kind of don't make any sense at the same time and don't necessarily need to connect. And so basically the overarching story is a story of a guy named Roy who lives in a world where there's these weird creatures that just kind of pop up out of nowhere, and they're from different places, and the only person that ever believes him and is able to save him from these weird alien type monsters is a nun. And so Roy ends up joining the convent and becoming a nun undercover, essentially. And we see some of that really crazy weird stuff play out. And then since we're talking about aliens, we get a special alien story in between that's called Call of the Cow, and it's all about a woman who feels like aliens are stealing her cows at night, and she doesn't like that, so she goes out to try to deal with it, and we get to see her interactions with the aliens. At that point, after that story is over, it does pop back to Roy and kind of give us a little bit more about what's going on in the nunnery, so to speak. And what those like mysterious creatures are doing for him. And so it just bounces back and forth between weird little stories and what's going on with Roy. And if you're looking for just some nonsensical fun, this is definitely going to be one of those books for you. We've got Rosario Origins from Amp Comics and the Chispa line. Chispa was actually originally with Scout, and it was a cool imprint that was going to bring us a lot of Latinx comics. And when Scout went under, Chispa found a new home with Amp, and so I'm really excited to see that they have it. And this is a one-shot that's actually going to get us ready for a movie that's called Rosario that's coming out soon. And this is all about two sisters who are from a family of witches of different kinds, some which are healers and some which are brujas, and their mom has always told them to stay away from dark magic, but when one of their like pets dies, essentially, they want to try to bring the pet back. One of the sisters wants to bring the pet back and the other one doesn't, because she thinks it's too dangerous and crosses the line for black magic. And by getting involved in the black magic, it leads to some sickness for their mother and a dark path for one of the sisters. And we kind of see the two of them split paths and see that there may be a war coming between the two sisters, but we'll find out when we see the Rosario movie. Betty and Veronica's Summer Fun in the Sun. This is our Archie Summer one-shot, and it is filled with tons of stories, actually, this time. And the very first one is all about Archie and the gang. Archie going to a water park. Archie wins free passes to the water park, and they say that there is going to be a bunch of press and media and influencers there, and Veronica thinks it's her chance to get discovered. So she creates an elaborate plan to never get wet at the water park, only for that to get spoiled immensely. And then we get to see a couple different Fran Fraser stories, who is a detective in town, and we get to see some fun little adventures on the beach side. And one of them is about a bunch of ghost surfers, and then we have another story that's about a ghost pirate, and then we also get to see a story about a YouTuber, blogger kind of guy who comes out and is wanting to figure out how to find your best summer fling, and he keeps interviewing people in Riverdale, all the teenagers, about love, and they all have ridiculous answers, and the only person who kind of really just wants to find love is Ethel, and who seems like a good enough person, and they kind of realize that the best thing in Riverdale is that they're all there for each other, and it's a really cute story. And then after the other Fran Fraser story with the pirate roller coaster and things of that nature, which is very Scooby-Doo, our next story is from Sabrina, and Sabrina is trying to have a good summer movie night. Like, she wants to throw a summer blockbuster party, and of course some witches from the other side come in and are totally trying to ruin her fun, and so Sabrina has to figure out how to do that. And then lastly, we get a classic Archie story, which from Dan DeCarlo, so we're going way back on our Archie here, and Betty and Veronica show up to the beach wearing the same swimsuit, and hijinks ensue. It's just a ton of fun, one of the bigger ones for how many stories you get, but always a good time with the Riverdale crew. Hellboy in Love, issue 1 from Dark Horse. This is one of those 2-part miniseries from the Hellboy universe, but this one actually has Hellboy in it. If you've been following along, Hellboy has left the BRPD and is trying to just have a happy life with the woman he fell in love with, Anastasia. But she is also somebody who is working to solve some mysteries and do some archaeological digs and different things. And in this, she is specifically trying to find this witch in Iceland. And after her professor and all of her team tell her she's not allowed to go, and that they're not going to fund her research, Hellboy, as a gift, gives her tickets to it. And so this is them going out to uncover a witch that she's previously discovered before, and figure out, now that she has Hellboy, is there a way to talk to this dead witch, this ancient witch, and kind of revive her, since Hellboy does have these necromantic powers. And so they do try to bring this witch with a spell back to life so that he can talk to her, and it does not go the way they plan. Only 2 issues, really great. Again, if you want to get to know Hellboy, one of the best ways to do it is get some of these 2-part miniseries and just learn the world a little bit. Godzilla Escape the Dead Zone, issue 1 from IDW. We are getting a lot of new Godzilla books because we are launching the new Keisei era, which is going to be the new era of Godzilla entirely, not just in comics. And so while we have the regular #1 for Godzilla, we are seeing a new #1 for this coming out, and then we're also going to get Godzilla Spaceship soon, or Spaceship Godzilla. But this is all about a world where, we all know kaiju, and we know that these battles are happening, and it's a little, the Seattle has become, or the Pacific Northwest really in general, but specifically Seattle, has become this dead zone where it's faced too many Godzilla attacks and kaiju attacks, and people there are just, they're still living in the waste and the wreckage, but it's like, it's dangerous. And on top of all the other Godzilla problems that are happening, we hear rumors of a person who is half kaiju, half human. And we're listening to these people in this bar kind of tell this story. And as they tell the story, there's a lone stranger in there. And of course, we know that it's going to be our half kaiju, half human. And we get to see a little bit of what that day-to-day life looks like for this character, as also like telling us what the world of these kaiju is going to be. And there are some big, bad, gross creatures. Not your traditional kaiju, not your traditional, we're not ones that we already necessarily know. But we're going to see some new things happen in this universe as it builds out. Blink and You'll Miss It, issue 1 from Boom Studios, actually written by the same exact creative team, not the same art team, but the same writing team that Godzilla Escape the Dead Zone is from. This is a new story all about a woman who goes back to this town that she's from, and she's like, nothing seems to have changed. Everybody seems to be exactly the same, or everything seems to be exactly the same. Nothing's really different. And she goes to her local diner, and she realizes that somebody from her past is there, and they're one of the only people who seem to have aged beyond herself. And she's like, oh my gosh, do you remember me? Do you know what's going on? Does something, what's happening? And she kind of learns that there is some really mysterious stuff happening in this town, and she may be the only one that's disconnected enough that she can still have memories and be able to fight it. But the question that everybody seems to have is, are they alive? Are they dead? Does this place still seem to exist in the same plane of reality? And what exactly is going on? And, if you blink, you'll miss it. So you're going to have to keep your eyes peeled while you're reading the story to see what little hints and teases they have for what's going to happen. And then lastly, for our new books, we have Archie versus Minor Threats #1 from Dark Horse and Archie Comics. And this is actually going to be bringing two great teams together, because we have our Minor Threats team of Patton Oswalt and Jordan Blum, but we also have Archie writer extraordinaire Timmy Heeg, who is a good friend of ours, on this book as well. And so we're really excited for Timmy and the world that he's getting to create. In this book, we find out that Sabrina is really trying to figure out a way that she can bring Harvey to this big ball, and like in the witch world. And they're like, okay, well, the only way you can do that is if you have this magical artifact, basically, and you have to have this whole thing, you know, always like the big elaborate process. And Sabrina's like, okay, so I just need a magical artifact so I can do enough magic so I can do this, so I can bring Harvey so that everybody will know that, like, he's my one true love. And so Sabrina is determined to get it, and this artifact is inside of Twilight City, which is, you know, not close by. And so Sabrina, and is the home of the Minor Threats world. And so Sabrina is like, I need to get over there, and she has a secret plan to meet with a troll that she's worked with before, which shout out to Timmy for the Sabrina the Teenage Witch TV show kind of reference, because this troll is just excited that Sabrina is finally going to go on a date with him. And if you're a fan of this show, you know that there is a troll on the show who always wants to date Sabrina and kind of forces her to marry him at one point. It's really great. Good job, Timmy. But there is she ends up finding out that troll can't make it, because all of the magic people in the neighboring area of Twilight City, where all of the Minor Threats villains live, are being rounded up by Playtime, who is the leader of the villain world in Minor Threats. And so her troll never shows up, and so Sabrina ends up sneaking onto a field trip to Twilight City with the Archie cast and crew, but they are stopped before they can get there, and they end up in these slums because Sabrina's tracking says that her magical artifact has moved. And so now they are stuck in the world of all of these villains. And Reggie is getting them into a bunch of trouble because he's stupid and we hate him. But Archie is trying to figure out how to just get his crew safe out, and somehow hijinks of an unnecessarily dangerous proportion ensue. And this book is going to be so fantastically good. Even if you haven't read Minor Threats, let this be your introduction to the Minor Threats world. They are going to give you enough information that you can jump into it and keep going. If you are a fan of Archie, it's so funny to see how this group can go from like the happy bubblegum, and Timmy really builds up like Archie is like the bubblegum like good character. Like he's like, I can't believe you guys are going to go get drunk on root beer at Reggie's house when his parents aren't home. Like he really builds up the Archie like classicness to it, and then you put them inside of this like really, really dangerous, like gritty world, which if you've read Minor Threats, you know these are like the villains kind of people. And so you clash those two worlds together, and it is going to be fantastic. It's already fantastic. This is a great issue 1. Seriously, everybody grab it, and this team is killing it already on 1 issue in. All right, I've got 3 picks of the week. I'm going to take another drink of this crazy grapefruit wine.
Tom was saying some have orange zest. And it could be orange zest.
It could be. It is less grapefruity on that drink, so it could be that it's settling into a...
Mine just tastes like wine made of lemons.
And see, I don't get lemon that time. Way less lemony. But it definitely is citrus, and that's strange. And I'm still trying to figure it out.
It's like a mimosa.
It's a Tempranillo mimosa. That would be the equivalent of all things that I don't want mixed together and yet somehow do. All right, we've got 3 picks of the week. The first one is Ancestral Recall #1 from Ahoy Comics. I have to say I have been excited for this book for a while. It's been teasing the back with the Ahoy Comics. We actually got to meet Jordan at San Diego Comic-Con, the writer of the book, and got to hear a lot about it from Jordan at BardCon, essentially. And I'm so excited to see where this is going. It's such a cool story. This is basically about a man who's an older man who's an artist and who's married to a woman who is like his art dealer. She's his agent. She does all the work for him. And they're both getting up in age. And he's kind of he's usually not the guy that leaves the house and does any of the work. She takes care of everything. She is not only his pride and joy, but she is also his extreme caretaker. And so this old man has to go and get medicine for his wife one day. And while he's doing that, the local like teenage girl, early 20-somethings girl is like, hey, all these people are disappearing. I don't know what's going on, but I'm investigating it, and you should too, and you should be nervous. And he's like, I don't have time for this. And he wakes up the next morning, and his wife is missing. And so he's like determined to find her. And as he's doing that, he kind of ends up in these different scenarios, and he's seeing the world completely different, almost like these hallucinations of different lives. And those lives are famous people throughout Black history. And he starts to see the world and kind of experience the world and have the powers of those people. So at one point he sees like the first Black detective who is actually like the inspiration for so many of them, and he starts becoming really good at finding the clues. And then he sees this is Jean-Louis Michel, who is a Haitian soldier and the greatest swordsman of the 19th century. So then he's able to like wield a weapon like it's a sword, and so it's so fantastic that it's going to continue to give him like all these powers. He's going to see that. And they talk about ancestral recall, which is basically the idea that you can see the past and the impact it has on you while also like impacting the future and all of that. And it kind of, so he's having these visions of all these different times at the same time. So you're getting what's really great. You're getting a story of like the man trying to find his lost love, like that classic like crime noir detective story, but you're also getting this story of that gives you like this supernatural element and like possibly like automatons like coming in and taking stuff and crazy things going on. You're also getting a story that's going to deal with racial struggles, and you're also getting a story of the power of Black history, which is so cool that Jordan has managed to layer all of that into the story and do such a good job on it in so many different ways. I'm so excited to see it. I mean, he literally said the tagline for this book was that this man literally like uses the literal power of Black history to save the day, and I cannot wait to see how. So good. You were going to say something?
There's great Ed Cato art in the back of the book.
Ooh.
In the backup story, because Ahoy always has lovely backup
always
stories.
Has great prose backup stories. Where's the Ed Cato art? Oh, always. Ed is so good.
His daughter and his granddaughter.
Ancestral.
Right, that he used as the references for the cool Ed Cato art.
That's so cool. Shout out to our friend Ed. He's so cool. And works with Ahoy all the time. And so, yeah, if you didn't pick this up this week, pick this up. This is going to be a great book, and it's going to have so many different things and the twists and turns we're going to see and all the different stories. And I love that, and I'm going to show it again. I know I already showed it, but I love that when he went into the noir, like, detective story, it changed art styles. And so I love that we're going to get to see those different kinds of pieces of art, like, as we approach different things, which is so cool because the character is an artist as well. So getting to see art and how it impacts him is also a really cool tie-in to the story. We also have Napalm Lullaby, issue 10 from Image. This has been on a delay forever and a day, and I was like, whoa, are we bringing back a whole new arc? Are they going to shift it again? But no, this is finally the end of Napalm Lullaby. And if you didn't read it, in Napalm Lullaby, arc 1, we were following two siblings who believed that it was up to them to kind of stop the world from being obsessed with and controlled by this ultimate god-like creature. Like, basically everybody had become so obsessed with this religion that it had become beyond just an oligarchy or a theocracy. It was like insanely, like, the whole world was essentially one big cult. And these two siblings that had superpowers were trying to figure out how to stop it. And in arc 1, they kind of do, or so we think that they do, but then in arc 2 everything really shifted. And as we come back into the story, we're still kind of seeing the effects of that. One of the siblings, the sister, she has the ability to make people fall asleep and then control like lucid dreaming for them while it's happening. And we figure out that she's been doing this to her brother Sam over this arc. Every issue of this arc has been Sam in a different kind of lifestyle, and she's like, don't you want this? Like, and they always end up fighting at the end, where it's like, I'm trying to build this perfect world for you. I'm trying to create a happiness for you. I'm trying to just do something that works for both of us, and I don't understand why you don't want it. And in this issue, they really, really have that big conversation, and they kind of talk about like what her goal is and what also is like reality, and what could reality mean to us, and what could we change about reality if we could, and why we would. And it comes to an ending that I was like, oh my God, Rick Remender, you did it again. Such a great story. So fantastic. I cannot wait to take volume 1 and volume 2 and read them all together as one whole entity, because without the delays, because the story, I know for a fact that when I go back and read volume 1 of this story, I'm going to realize that the whole thing was laid out in front of me from issue 1, and I didn't know because I didn't know where it was going. This is one of those where like, you're going to read it all again, even if you've already read it, because every time you read it, you're going to discover something else. And it's so well done. And there's so many like amazing, like poignant issues and thoughts and theories in it. And, it's more than one issue of this has made pick of the week. So the fact that the ending like nails it and crushes it is not surprising. But seriously, if you don't read it in single issues, get volume 1 and 2 of the trades. Maybe we'll get lucky and they'll just make one 10-issue trade as well. But if not, buy both of them because it's so good you want it. And then lastly, we have Orla issue 1 from Mad Cave, which is definitely climbing the ranks here at Bat City from readers and staff as a fan favorite for this week. Also, kind of gives me a little bit of a romance story, the closest I'm going to get to one, I guess, but it's a romance horror story, so it's even better. This is all about a girl named Orla who just, you know, she just wants to do her part. I don't know what to show because I don't want to ruin anything. She wants to do her part to make the world a better place. And she's going to do that by trying to find the perfect partner through a dating app. And she's constantly going on these dates with terrible men to kind of take them off the market in the best way she can. The tagline for this is a boy, a girl, and her hungry monster, and I definitely think that that is a great way to say it. I think actually Katie said it best, is that we all have a monster inside of us, and sometimes we use it for good and sometimes we use it for evil. Orla, in the midst of all of that, is a small business owner who runs a restoration company and happens to be next door to a bookstore. And the bookstore owner has just the greatest kind of relationship. It's just so cute and loving and kind and actually a good person. And Orla gets so cute and nervous and everything whenever she's around them. And it's so cute. Meanwhile, Orla has a friend who has always been like their best friend, and she, you know, has the rocky relationship with them. But the best friend is getting married to a terrible boy, and she hates them so much. And she wants very much to get rid of them. You can see what he's called on this page, what Orla refers to him as. And so she's trying so much to get rid of him because he's just awful and terrible and she hates him. And it reminds her of all the men she needs to get rid of in this world. And again, I don't want to spoil those big reveals, but everything that's coming to you from Orla is going to be adorable and also amazing and wonderful. And she has all of the power that we all wish we had inside of us when we're surrounded by terrible men who treat people badly. And seriously, hilarious. Orla is already somebody I want to be friends with for my Batastic People I Want to Be Friends With award, because she reads smutty books and wants just everybody to be happy and just thinks that terrible men should not be allowed in the dating pool or the world. And I think, way to go, Orla. Let's go out and get mimosas and talk smutty books anytime. Or drink this wine that apparently tastes like mimosas and Tempranillo mixed together. So check it out if you didn't pick it up, because it is such a good book. All right, we got a bunch of other books in stock this week. We're going to do trade paperbacks last. Things that came out that you want to make sure you pick up. Absolute Green Lantern issue 5 is out. Superior Avengers issue 5 is out. Batgirl issue 9 is out. This is that Cass Kane Batgirl. Birds of Prey issue 24. Daredevil Cold Day in Hell issue 3. Chip Zdarsky's Captain America issue 2 came out, and that's going over there because I still need to read it. One World Under Doom issue 6. We've got G.I. Joe issue 317. We've got Red Hulk issue 7. which is part of your One World Under Doom. Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu, issue 11. Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong is out this week, but it's not this issue. This is, we are on issue like 3. I grabbed the wrong one. JSA is back again with issue 10, and I love that cool Hawkman cover. Poison Ivy, issue 35. Resurrection Man Quantum Karma, issue 5. Radiant Black has hit issue 36, and I am so far behind, you don't get to hear about it, but it's so good. Star Wars Legacy of Vader, issue 7. All New Venom, issue 9. Ultimate X-Men, issue 18. Uncanny X-Men, issue 19. Ooh. We had multiple Wolverine issues out this week, but we had Wolverine by Chris Claremont #1. We had Secret 6 issue 6. Marvel Rivals had their own Hellfire Gala, and that was a one-shot out this week. Red Sonja versus the Army of Darkness issue 4. Wolverine issue 9. Cheetah and Cheshire have teamed up to rob the Justice League, and this is issue 1 of that out this week. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers had Rita's Rewind, which goes with the video game. There's also a Power Rangers Prime out this week as well. My Little Pony had another anthology of fun stories, and this is called Hoof Loose, like Footloose. And then Vampirella issue 4 for the new run is out, and I love this cover, so I saved it for less. It's super racy and it's beautiful. We also have some trade paperbacks out this week. We've got DC, The New Frontier, and Compact Edition. Isn't this beautiful? All of those Compact Editions are so wonderful, and there are some really big fan favorites coming your way from them, including this one with New Frontier. $9.99, you can get your favorite DC stories in that small size that fits inside of your Loungefly. We also have Civil War from Marvel. This is the Civil War story, the original one, and this is in their version of the compact. As you can see, it's a little bit bigger, a little bit wider, and it's a little bit more expensive. It's $14.99, but you are getting those classic stories back in print through these, and so it's a great way to get your favorites from either publisher. Volume 3 of Feral came out this week. We've got Justice League Unlimited Volume 1, Dick Tracy Volume 2, so if you missed that story of arc with the blank, it's right there. And then Kill Train, the whole story is out from Mad Cave, which is such a great book that you are going to want to grab that. Who doesn't need a murder train story? That's all we got. That's all the books out this week. We are obviously going to have some more new ones for you on Wednesday when New Comic Book Day hits. Don't forget that Thursday at 7 p.m. is Fresh Start Book Club. We're reading Gideon Falls #1. Saturday is Comic Creation Workshops for the kiddos, 1 at 11:30 and 1 at 3:30. Just want to give a huge, super duper big shout out to all of our kids, teachers, and librarians and administrators heading back to school here in Bradenton tomorrow, Bradenton, Sarasota area. Good luck. Hope it's an awesome, wonderful first day of school. We hope it's a great semester or great school year, and we'll be seeing all of you, I'm sure, tons and tons of times throughout the year. That said, again, that's all I have for you. So, see you at the shop this week, and until then, happy reading, everyone. Bye!